If you're looking for an affordable way to lower the stance of your 2016 to 2024 Camaro while also improving its handling, look no further than the SR Performance Sport Coil-Over Kit. This kit offers tons of adjustability with a pretty significant drop in height and improved handling to boot, and it does it all for about the best price in the segment. So if you want a feature-packed coilover kit that doesn't require you to spend a ton of money, this is going to be the setup for you. Value for money really is the name of the game here, and you'd be hard-pressed to find another coilover kit on the market that has the same kind of feature set for a better price. Starting out with the thing you all want to know though, with this kit installed, you will be able to lower your car between 1 and 3 inches both front and rear, so it's going to provide a pretty significant drop versus stock. And of course, you can dial in how much drop you want as the height is adjustable, again, both front and rear. Now, as far as performance is concerned, this is a monotube shock setup with 32-way adjustable damping, so you can really fine-tune how these ride and handle. If you're hitting the track, simply grab the dial here and crank them up for more performance. And if you're taking a long road trip, just dial them back for a softer ride. Now, that's something you don't typically see at this price point. Of course, you also get new springs as well for both the front and rear. These are going to be uprated versus your stock ones too, to accommodate for the drop in ride height and also help improve handling to work better with those adjustable shocks. Stiffer springs and shocks means less body roll and less weight transfer, so these are going to be a big improvement in the corners especially. Now, being that these are monotubes and stiffer springs, again, that is going to mean a stiffer ride versus stock, but with the adjustability here, you can soften things up so it's not punishing day to day. Now, something else you don't see at this price point often is the inclusion of adjustable camber plates right here at the top. So these will help correct suspension geometry, make alignments easier, and allow you the flexibility to dial in the way your car handles a bit more too. And again, it's a really nice feature to see included at this price point. Construction here is pretty solid as well. The springs are finished in this nice white powder coat, and the shocks feature a black powder coat, making everything durable and nice to look at as well. You also get new adjustable spring perches for the rear. That's part of how you adjust the ride height, and the adjuster tools for the collars and perches too. Now, these don't have all of the flash of some of the more expensive coilovers, but I don't think any of you will be disappointed considering how much they cost. Now, we've danced around the subject enough for this video. This setup is going to run you about $800, and that makes it the most affordable set of coilovers on the market for these cars. And while again, these may not be the flashiest, they are going to give your car a cool stance, they're going to help improve the handling, and they give you quite a bit of adjustability. So if you're in the market, these are an excellent option, especially considering they're not going to cost you all that much. Installation is going to get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and you can anticipate the job taking you about 4 hours to do, perhaps a little bit more depending on your familiarity with the Camaro suspension setup. Everything is going to bolt right into place though without the need for any permanent modifications to the car itself, so you can easily remove these and set it back to stock later on if you need to. With that, let's head on out to the shop and we're going to walk you through the installation process step by step.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact and ratchet, a pry bar, a 24, 18, 15, 15 swivel, 13, and 10 millimeter socket, 3/8 extension, a 5 millimeter Allen wrench, 21, 18, 15, 14, and 6 millimeter wrench, a clip removal tool, and also going to show be a lift and pull jack. All right, today we're going to be installing some coilovers on our Camaro. First, we're going to watch a quick video how to uninstall the stock system, then we'll come back here and install the new stuff.
So now we'll go ahead and remove the 2 bolts holding our knuckle and our strut together. We'll kind of release the tension here, pop these out. And once you have that out, your knuckle should swing free. Now you want to make sure your brake line and your ABS line don't get caught up on anything. And you don't just want to let this fall right out. Go ahead and grab a bungee cord or something like that so you can hook in through here. And that's just going to prevent everything from swinging too much and putting excess tension on your lower ball joint or your brake line and ABS line. And now our strut is free, so we can go ahead and remove the upper mounting nuts and get this out. So now we can come into our engine bay here to our strut tower and remove the 3 13 millimeter bolts holding our factory strut in place. So we'll grab our 13 millimeter socket on our impact and go ahead and loose these up, while at the same time we're going to reach into our wheel well and support our strut so that we can grab it when it comes free. So As you remove your last one, you want to support your strut. And as that one is unbolted, we can now remove our strut from the vehicle. So now to get our strut out, what we're going to do is drop this down enough to get our top hat and top of the strut out of the wheel well. We're going to fish it out this way. Now once you have this out for this side, you can go ahead and repeat these same steps for the other side. So for the rear, we're going to need to remove this lower plastic cover here on our spring bucket / lower control arm in order to access the hardware we need to. So we've got our clip removal tool, and we're going to remove the 4 clips holding this in place first. We can just go ahead and set that aside for now. So now we have a pole jack under our lower control arm. This is going to help support our lower suspension once we remove the components when we need to. Then we're going to start with our sway bar end link here. So we're going to remove this bolt using our 15mm swivel socket and extension on our impact. And it may need to put a little bit of tension on your sway bar in order to get this bolt all the way out. Pop that out. So next we're going to go ahead and remove our lower shock mounting bolt. So we'll grab our 18mm socket on our impact. Go ahead and get that off. And use our pole jack to kind of relieve the stress on here so we don't mess up our threads on the way out. Pop that out. So next we can go ahead and remove the upper mounting bolt for our shock and get that out of the way. So we'll grab our 15mm ratcheting wrench and go ahead and get that off. Now these fender liners are split from the factory to allow easier access to this. Now if you do find your shock shaft to be spinning, they do make an indent on the top of your shaft, which we'll need to go ahead and use and grab that. So now we've gone ahead and put a 6mm wrench on the top of our shaft here to hold that in place. We can go ahead and start loosening this up. Go ahead and remove our mounting nut. And drop our shock down. Go ahead and compress it just a little bit. You can easily do this by hand. Go ahead and remove your factory shock. Alrighty guys, now that we have our shock out, it's time to go ahead and get this spring out. So what we're going to do is we have our pole jack underneath our lower control arm here, and we're going to remove this outer mounting bolt to our knuckle. So we'll grab our 15mm socket and extension on our impact for the front side here. And then we have a 15mm wrench for the nut directly on the back side. We'll go ahead and run this out. Go ahead and pop that bolt out. Then we can go ahead and lower our pole jack here. That's going to give us the clearance to remove our spring. Pull down on this. Pop our spring out of its perch here. Go ahead and remove that. Pop our isolators out as well.
Now for the front, we're going to go ahead and get our coil-over in place. Just make sure it's angled correctly so you can, if you want to adjust the caster, it can go properly. Just going to line up the top 3 studs and then thread on our supplied nuts. We can come around top and tighten those down. We'll grab our impact and 13mm socket and tighten all 3 of these nuts down. Now we're going to go ahead and get our knuckle into our new coilover with our bottom bolts. So I have just one of our bolts here. I'm going to lift this up in place and get our bottom one in place first. Now that that one's in, makes it nice and easy to pivot. Get that top one in. We'll get our nuts threaded on. And we can go ahead and get those tightened down. Now we're going to tighten our 2 main bolts here. So our impact and 24mm socket and a 21mm wrench to hold it. We're going to put our sway bar link into our new coilover now and thread on our 18mm nut and tighten that down. We'll get our brake line secured. So put that in the slot, grab our 10mm bolt, thread that in. Grab a ratchet, 10mm socket, and tighten that down. And we just have our clip for our ABS line. Now that you have this side all put together, you can go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. After you have the other side installed, we can go over just a quick adjustment. Now these all adjust about the same for the front and rear. You just have your tool. You're gonna loosen up a collar like so. And then you can actually spin this by hand. You can either spin it in, so that'll shorten it, or spin it up, and that'll raise the height. And you're gonna lock that collar back down, grab your tool, and snug that up. Now we're ready to get our new coilovers in. We're gonna be starting in the rear here. As you can see, we do not have our top mount in. That'll be replaced by this cup here. We didn't really touch the adjustment on this. We're just gonna leave that just to see where it is when we put it on the ground, put weight on it. But we do have the bottom mount in our bucket here. Just wanna make sure that you line the bottom of the spring up in that bottom mount here. And we're gonna get our spring assembly in, just kind of loose, and then we're gonna get our shock in also pretty much the same time, and then get everything buttoned up. We're just gonna drop this in to the top, and get that spring lined up. Now we're gonna get our shock in. You see I have our washer and nut taken off. And on the bottom, you just wanna be careful not to lose the spacers here. That will fit in tight. We're just gonna get this dropped in. Get this in place, and we're gonna push down on our lower control arm just to line everything up. See, we have our cup over our spring seat, and then we have our strut started up in our top mount. So we're gonna get the bottom of our shock lined up and get our bolt in. Just get that lined up with the threads on the other side. So we can grab our impact and 18mm socket and tighten that down. Now I have our pull jack under our lower control arm here. And we're just gonna get a pry bar and just line up this bolt over here. Get that through the other side. Get that a little more through. Grab our impact and 15mm socket. Just get that started. Put your nut on the back side. And then you're gonna hold your nut with your 18mm wrench. Last bolt we need to put in down here is for our sway bar length. So if you need to, I have a pry bar. Just to pry that down in place. And go ahead and get that bolt started. You can keep that pry bar there just to make it a little bit easier to go in, but we're gonna grab our impact with our 15mm swivel socket and tighten that down. Now we have our lower cover for our lower control arm. Get that back in place and reinstall our 4 push clips going around. Now we just have the top of our shock. We have our washer we're gonna put on. Then we're gonna thread on our supplied nut. That's started, then we're gonna go ahead and tighten that down with a 14mm ratcheting wrench. And if you need to hold the center from it spinning, we have a 5mm Allen wrench. Now we're just gonna go ahead and tighten this down until this bottom part sits flush against our mount. Now you go ahead and repeat those same steps for the other side of the car. And that wraps up our install of our SR Performance Sport Coil-Over Kit for a 2016 to 2024 Camaro. And remember, for everything Camaro, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.